Adventures in Research.
And how's business these days?
Fine, just fine. I'd say I'm holding my own ever since I put in this machine here.
This is Paul Shannon introducing another in the series of programs dealing with the thrilling adventures to be found in the field of scientific research, as told by the men of science themselves. Today's story by Dr. Phillips Thomas, research engineer of the Westinghouse Research Laboratories, deals with a little-known but colorful chapter of man's inventive progress. The story of the cash register. Throughout the ages, back since the beginning of time, man has been faced with two basic problems.
How can I acquire possessions? And having acquired them, how can I keep a record of them? Let everyone know they belong to me.
How far back in history does counting go? Well, let's see what the historians tell us.
Primitive man had his own methods of counting. He was able to distinguish the difference between a large number and a smaller one, and in time developed what you call a number sense.
Man used his fingers for counting at first. Later he used pebbles. The ancient Babylonians registered contracts, custom duties, bonds, even receipts on clay tablets which were baked in the sun.
As long ago as 2637 B.C., the Chinese are said to have used an abacus, a counting table with little sliding balls. A form of abacus is still in use today in China, India, and in Japan.
Along in 1642, a Frenchman devised a crude machine for counting. It added figures and even gave a total.
And later, around 1820, another Frenchman made counting history by producing the world's first commercially successful calculating machine. It added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided. 4 operations.
Then followed the first adding machine.
And the comptometer was a further step in the march of mechanical accounting.
And right here is where we'll pick up our story in the history of accounting. During a period that was rich in American mechanical progress, the Reconstruction era following the Civil War. Aboard a ship bound for Europe, a nattily dressed man makes friends with the chief engineer.
My name's Ritty, James Ritty, from Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, glad to meet you, Mr. Ritty. Hope you're enjoying the trip.
Yes, I am. I'd enjoy it a lot better, though, if I didn't have a load of worry on my mind.
Well, nothing serious, I hope.
Question of money. I own the Empire Cafe in Dayton, and I have a good business. Treat my customers right. But no matter how much business I do, the place is losing money. Seems that a lot of my money just gets away.
Well, have you tried changing employees?
Oh, yes, but makes no difference. An open cash drawer is just too much of a temptation, I guess, and I'm the loser.
That's too bad. Nothing you can do about that, is there? Except watch them day and night.
Oh, that's right.
How'd you like to come down to the engine room and look around?
Oh, fine. You know, I used to be a mechanic myself by trade. How do you fellas stand all this noise?
Oh, we get used to it. I see you're looking at our pride and joy, the mechanism that records the revolutions of the propeller and does it automatically.
Yes, automatically. Ship's propeller. Machinery does the whole thing. Oh.
Huh? Hey, Mr. Ritty, you looked as though your mind was 1,000,000 miles away.
The movements of a ship's propeller can be recorded. Why couldn't the same thing be done in the movements of sails in my cafe? A machine to keep records mechanically. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking, I guess.
Oh, that's all right.
You know, I've just had a tremendous idea. One that might solve my troubles losing money at the cafe. I think I'll just cut short my trip and hurry back to Dayton and work on it. My brother John's a mechanic. He can help. Wait a minute, Johnny. Wait a minute. That piece goes in here. Like this. Say, this machine is working out perfectly, just as we planned it. Well, let's see if everything's in place. 2 rows of keys across the lower front of the machine, yes?
And each key is marked with a figure. If you want to record 50 cents, you simply press this key down like this. And there's your 50 cents marked on the face of the clock back there. See it?
Ah, perfect. Johnny, this machine is going to make all the difference in the world to my business. But...
But what, Jimmy? Aren't you satisfied with it?
Oh, yes. But I think we can make improvements on it.
Just what I was thinking. Look, instead of the recorder being like the face of a clock, why don't we build a set of wheels in back of the machine? They can be mounted easily, and the amounts recorded on a dial. Well, there you are, Jimmy. Works perfectly. And I think it's all right, but...
So do I, but we can do better. I've an idea, Johnny. Look, instead of the dial amount indicator there, why don't we substitute a tablet form? Small plates with the same money values as the keys. You see what I mean?
Sure, good idea. The plates could be connected with the indicators by rods. Vertical sliding rods.
Then, as you press the key down, the indicator rod, which would be resting on the key, would raise up until the indicator showed through the opening here in the top of the machine.
Right. And that opening can be covered with glass to keep out the dust. And alterations.
Johnny, I think we're on the right track. Let's start work on it right away.
Well, Jimmy, there she is. Reddy's incorruptible cashier. She's a daisy if I ever saw one.
Yes, but, I was thinking only last night that
Oh, not another improvement.
Yep. Look, though, Johnny, we could mount a paper roll, a wide roll, mounted horizontally, right here, above and across the keys, inside the machine.
Uh-huh. Then what?
Well, as the key is pressed down, its pin pricks a small hole in the paper just above the key. And at the same time, the paper moves up a notch. You see what I mean there?
Yes. As the key is pressed down, the paper moves up a step, with each hole punched.
Yeah.
Okay, then what?
Well, then at the end of the business day, the roll could be removed, and the part representing the day's business unrolled and the holes counted, the holes in each column.
But how would he be able to reach a total?
Oh, easy, by counting the holes. Oh, now look, say there were 10 holes in the 5-cent column. Well, multiply 10 by 5, what do you get?
50 cents.
Sure. And then you go ahead and count the holes in all the other columns, and you get the day's sales, the total.
Say, that's all right. You not only get the total for the day's sales, but also the total in each price range.
Sure. You want to try it?
Do I? This is the best idea yet. Let's go.
The paper roll machine was the first cash register to be put on sale. But James Ritty encountered hard sledding when he tried to build up a cash register business. In 1883, the two brothers decided to sell out. And now, fate steps into our story. Fate in the person of a man named John H. Patterson, owner of a general store at Colton, Ohio, and who suffered from the same malady that had caused James Ritty so much worry, an open cash drawer out of which flowed much of the business profits. He was sitting in a hotel lobby one night talking to a stranger, a New England businessman.
You say you're going to be away from your business for 2 months?
That's right. Going to make it a real holiday.
But 2 months? How can you afford to leave your business for so long? I can't leave mine for a single day.
It's quite simple. My manager's a capable man, and I own a cash register made in Dayton. Each day I receive the punched roll from the cash register, together with my manager's statement of the day's business. I check the two. That gives me a check on the day's sale.
Cash register? Well, if it affords you that degree of protection, it can do the same for me. National Cash Register Company, Dayton, Ohio. Send 3 machines at once. Signed John H. Patterson, Colton, Ohio. Get this telegram off right away, please. Frank, as my brother and business partner, I think you'll agree it was a smart move to install those cash registers. In the past 6 months, the store has shown a profit of several $1,000s.
I know. The wisest investment we ever made, but you got something else on your mind, haven't you, John?
Yes, it's this. If the cash register is good for our store, it ought to be good for every store in the world.
I have a feeling we're going into the cash register business. Huh?
Yes, we don't know anything about it, but we have the whole wide world for a market. Thinking, planning, and doing were all one and the same thing to dynamic John H. Patterson. The year 1884 saw him at 40 years of age, embarking on a new vocation, assuming control of the National Cash Register Company. All right, Frank. I'll take charge of the planning, selling, and advertising. You take over the factory management.
We've taken on quite a job, selling what amounts to an unknown machine. It's not going to be easy, John.
No, it isn't, Frank. It's a challenge, and a big one. But I'm convinced that we can do it. We've got a factory, small to be sure, but it's a start. 13 employees and 2 types of cash registers to market. Now let's go to work and create a demand for them. Get all our salesmen together for a meeting. We'll call over our opposition problems, talk them over, find a way to solve them. Bring a problem out in open forum when you've got it half licked. A sales meeting, the first known of its kind, marking the beginning of a new era in salesmanship and of creative selling. To John H. Patterson also goes much of the credit of being a pathfinder in the sound industrial relations upon which modern business structure is founded.
Hot, nourishing meals provided for employees at the factory.
Baths, rest periods, dining rooms.
Medical and dental service, nurses, health education.
Recreational grounds, employees' garden clubs.
Regular vacations, night classes, training courses.
Imbued with the gifts of vision, John H. Patterson formulated principles and practices that remain basic in American business. Under his guidance, the cash register, once looked upon as a newfangled money machine, became the keeper of the business conscience. Yes, the cash register, invented by James Ritty back in 1878 and given to the world by John H. Patterson, created a new era of business honesty and efficiency. The rule,
We progress through change.
still applies today throughout the National Cash Register Company. With the discovery of new processes, new principles and materials, fresh horizons are opening for their application in electronics and chemistry. And research goes on constantly, seeking new ways to serve the cause of progress. The end came for John H. Patterson on May 7, 1922. But his teachings, etched upon the tablets of business memory, go marching on. His epitaph might well be the words he once spoke at a meeting. If ever there comes a time in this business when courage is not needed, when it is not necessary to overcome obstacles, I will know that it's time to close down, turn off the power, and draw the fires for all time. And that's today's story by Dr. Phillips Thomas, research engineer of the Westinghouse Research Laboratories. Be with us again next week for another interesting story of science by Dr. Thomas on Adventures in Research.